Welcome, Daniel Raz, to Coaching in Session. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. How about yourself?
Doing well. Thanks so much for coming on. Today, we're going to be having you on talking about fitness coaching. In your own words, tell the world who you are, what you do, and how you help.
I was born in Israel. When I was six, my family and I moved to China. And this was in 2004. There was nothing but McDonald's and hardcore Chinese food. And Chinese food in China is very different than Chinese food in America. It's not Panda Express. It's not what people think it is. Especially 2004, was exactly what it was like in the movies. There was skinless dogs hanging upside down. There's all sorts of animals people ate. So as a kid, I was extremely picky. I ate nothing but McDonald's. Extremely unhealthy kid. At the age of 12, I started playing basketball, and my brother convinced me that if I wanted to get better at playing basketball, I should start eating healthier, which was pretty much any diet except what I was doing. So I slowly started getting more into nutrition, and that is, I guess, when I started my journey trying different foods. And at the age of 17, I started lifting weights, and I realized that, unlike a basketball, I took my body with me everywhere I went. It was a much more transferable skill because prior to that, I was confident, but only on the basketball court. It didn't translate. When I got my body in shape, I realized that I was confident everywhere because, again, I took my body with me. So that made me want to become a personal trainer. I went to university in Canada for an exercise nutrition degree and worked in a few gyms. I'm a certified personal trainer. Then I'm sure a few of the audience has heard 2020, there was a lockdown situation thing going on. So that is when I started my online business. And now I help people sustainably lose weight without going to the gym. And the reason why I chose that is even after the lockdown, I realized that people that often need the most help hate going to the gym. That is my story in 90 seconds or so.
No, this is great. And when we look at the lockdowns, I remember it so vividly because I love going to the gym. And the gym is not too far from my house. It was maybe a mile and a half away. So super close. If you're in a car, you're there in less than 5 minutes. If you walk, it's going to take maybe 15 minutes to get there or something along those lines. But the gym had closed. You couldn't go to the gym. You couldn't even really exercise outside. I know there was like some stipulations for that, but for at least for Texas, where I live, you were able to go exercise outside. So I'll go run and you could do that, but you weren't allowed like to go to the park and do things like that. And that's when the home gym industry blew up. All the weights and all the dumbbells skyrocketed through the roof because everyone was trying to build a home gym because they couldn't go to the gym anymore. And I said, wow, like that is so interesting because who would have thought one day the gym would be closed, for this to happen? And then even going along with the aspect of there are people who don't like going to the gym. So the home gym is the perfect place. And a lot of people have a home gym. But what I want to talk about now is a lot of people have this home gym. And even though the convenience is there, many people don't do it. They will be on their phone, be on the sofa watching TV, watching the gym equipment look at them, saying, "Hey, you need to lift me up and get some reps in." Why do you think that is happening where we have all the equipment, have all the stuff, maybe have the mindset to work out, but we don't readily do it?
That's an excellent question. And I believe people don't lack motivation, they lack tangible results. Because if you see tangible results week after week after week, you want to continue. And the reason why people don't get tangible results is because they go in blind. It is accepted that if you want to get a driver license, you take multiple driver lessons from a driving instructor. That is pretty much universally accepted. But it is not frowned upon, but it's not nearly as accepted to hire a professional to help you exercise to get results. People think that they should figure this out because I don't know why, right? Because they think it's simple. And I can tell a teenager, hey, green means go, red means stop, here are the car keys, don't crash. Probably not the best idea, right? Even though I told him everything he needs to know, that's not enough, right? Because there's a thousand little nuances. Same with fitness. Yeah, eat more, move less, but there's a thousand little nuances. And that's why information on its own is not enough because people flooded with information but starving for wisdom, specifically tailored to them.
If we understand that the information is not enough in a world of technology, because people will go to Google the moment something is wrong with them. For example, let's say they break their arm, they'll go to Google before they go to the hospital. It's crazy how people have this mindset of going to technology and seeking this information before seeking professional help. Is this something that's going to change in the coming years, or is it going to be a constant?
It's a good question. I've never thought about that. I think people always behave how people behave. So they take, because asking Google is often faster than asking a professional, and people think that will solve the problem, but then it doesn't. So people would many times take the long approach to success just because they took shortcuts. If you all you do is take shortcuts, obviously in the long term, it makes you get the results later. So yeah, I don't know if that will change.
It's always interesting to look at fitness because every year January comes along, New Year's resolutions are going, right? Everyone's like, I'm going to get in the best shape of my life this year. But only after a couple of months, it seems like they fall off. You would think that people would look at the correlation of what they did the year prior and what they are planning to do this year and to implement things that are going to mitigate the risk of them falling off again. But yet they almost are in this crazy cycle of insanity. They just keep doing the same thing and they wonder why they don't get results. How can we instill a new type of logic when it comes to fitness and getting in shape, whether it be in the gym or at home?
Are you asking for like a societal level or for like individual level?
You could choose.
Because I feel like for an individual level, if I have a conversation with the person one on one, I can get them to realize that hey, what you've been doing the last 20 years clearly has been working. You lost weight, you gain weight, you lost weight, you gain weight, yo-yo diet. If you want a sustainable approach, you need a customized plan. That's what I would say to an individual. And obviously, we all know the power of one-on-one coaching, how much it can change someone's life. As a society, yeah, that's a good question. I think New Year's resolution in general should just not be a thing because it's so temporary. So just about the culture of we all know like instant gratification and short-term vision and not viewing fitness as a lifestyle, but viewing it as an end goal. So it's all education, and society as a whole just needs to view fitness and health in a different perspective than what it currently is.
You said that when you're growing up, you don't want to eat the Chinese food, and then you have McDonald's quite often. And here in America, there's fast food joints on every corner. And there's going to be, I mean, leave it up to the imagination. If you're in the mood for American, there's Burger King, Jack in the Box, McDonald's. If you want Mexican, there's Taco Bell, there's Casa Grande, whatever. I mean, we can go down the list of all the fast food places. And it's easy for us to get our fix. And sometimes the quick fast food ends up packing on the pounds, making us slower in the sense of our metabolism is not where it needs to be. We are not having the energy that we would like to have because, again, it's easy to get a hamburger that is not going to fulfill our macro needs and then feel full versus making sure we give our body what it needs. Like people think a side salad is enough for them to say, yeah, I got my fiber, I got all the nutrients I need. I had broccoli last month, so I should be good. I take a multivitamin. I mean, we have a skewed sense of nutrition in our world today, and we do have to look at it in multiple lenses. But I do want to just start with fitness. How do you help people begin? Maybe they reach out to you saying, hey, I want to get on track. What are some of your first steps?
What I start is what I call the easy wins, things that take little time and effort but move the needle in your favor. As we mentioned, January 1st, many people that have not exercised and eaten healthy for months all of a sudden say, I'm going to drink 5 gallons of water, run a marathon, and eat nothing but carrots and salad every single day. And obviously, they fall off because that's extremely unrealistic. I think it's better to take the opposite approach. Do things that take minimal time and effort because once you see tangible results, that would inherently motivate you to do more. So, as an example, always have a water bottle within arm's reach, right? Super easy and makes all the difference. Every time I'm talking on the phone, I'm always walking. I'm never sitting down. The time is spent talking on the phone anyways, might as well burn extra calories. Improve your sleep quality. There's so many little things that don't take any extra time, but will yield you better results. And once you see better results, that would motivate you to often work harder and do more of the right things.
Progress can be slow sometimes because one of the reasons people quit after 3 to 6 months in the gym is that they're not seeing the results that they want. Yes, they might have lost a little bit of weight. They might have maybe went down an inch or two on their jeans. But if it's not where they want to be, their end goal, they're like, oh, this is too much work. Why even keep on persisting through that pain and effort?
Yeah, it's extremely important to manage expectations correctly. If you were to go on a flight that's supposed to be 7 hours, but instead took 9 hours, for the extra 2 hours, you'd be pissed, you'd be frustrated. But if the flight took 5 hours and you expect to take 7 hours, you'd be happy. However, if you expect the flight to take 9 hours and it only took 7 hours, again, you'd be happy. So it's all about managing your expectations. People have unrealistic expectations of what they can accomplish in a short amount of time, and that leads them to be frustrated. And as you mentioned, that leads people to say, I give up and I want to quit. But if you think about it, what does that actually mean? Because it's your health, it's your fitness. It's people view health fitness in a binary as either all in or all out. But what does quitting actually mean? Right? So you're gonna eat like all the junk food, you're gonna only eat donuts. Like, what does that mean? Be like, even if you had a bad day, that doesn't mean you should quit. Just be like, okay, next day just try to do a little bit better than the day before. That's it. So if you for the people watching, right? If this is optimal health and this is horrible health, and you're very close to horrible health, instead of saying I quit and go all the way to horrible health, be like, okay, what can I do to inch myself into the right direction? And that's it.
Let's fast forward though. Let's say they finally reached their goal and they're exactly where they wanted to be, but then they slowly start to slow down. They start to pack on the pounds. They're going to McDonald's a little bit more. They're eating a little bit more cake, a little bit more ice cream, a little bit more self-care days. And eventually they fall right back to where they are. And they get the mindset of, I was there, but now it's going to be even more difficult for me to get back because I understand now in my mind how difficult it was for me to get to that goal. The question is, how can we give people the mindset of longevity once they reach their goal to maintain it, sustain it, or to reach the next level?
I think it's important to view fitness as there is no end goal. The end goal is to feel your optimal self every single day. And obviously, it's something you have to work for. I just think instead of, if you can try to do things that you believe you can maintain for a lifestyle, that's the most important thing. So if you ran 10 miles yesterday, that's fantastic. But is that something you feel like you can do on most days? If not, but you do believe you can do 1 mile every single day, then do that. That's better every single day than 10 miles once a month, right? So what you can do consistently matters most. And the higher you raise your standards, the better health and fitness you would be. Meaning, what you do on your worst days, on your worst weeks, matters a lot more than what you do on your best days and best weeks. I guarantee that my best and most people's best is identical. If you look at my best week, it's probably identical to most people's best week from January 1st to January 8th. However, my worst, when shit hits the fan, when everything went wrong, when nothing went right, that means I only worked out 3 days a week. That means I only drink water sometimes. That meant I only hit my protein goal sometimes. Even my worst is higher than most people. That's why I am where I am. My best and most people's best is identical. It's important to remember that. So instead of always trying to reach harder and harder, just be like, just raise your bottom standard. That's what matters the most.
No, that's important to understand because there are days or weeks actually when I'm not able to make it to the gym because of work or family, whatever it be. But I'm telling you, it eats me up because I'm like, man, I didn't get those 5 days that I treat as my minimum. And some people say, they want to do at least one day as their minimum. But I give myself a achievable goal, which is five, right? You have 2 days to mess up. And I mean, messing up more than that is, of course, going to be circumstance. but it shouldn't be habitual patterns. What tends to happen, especially around New Year's, is that they give themselves a goal that is a bit further than what they can reach right now. Because if you have never ran a mile before and you say, I'm gonna run 100 miles today, you can't even run a mile. Why give yourself this 100-mile lofty goal? It's a wonderful goal, but why not start at saying, I'm going to do one lap? And you begin to build from there. To be honest, most people on January 1st should say, I'm going to go to the gym one day out of the week. And that should be your maximum or minimum. And then from there, you're going to give yourself the mindset of, I'm going to the gym. I have more free time. I'm enjoying going to the gym. Maybe you make a friend. Maybe you meet a trainer and you're like, whoa, this is enjoyable. And then you have people pushing you to excel. And I do want to get into that conversation where you have a trainer, because I always say that if I have a trainer in the gym or a friend or a buddy, someone I go out and work with, it doesn't matter their fitness level. They can be scrawny like a stick or big like tank. It does not matter. If they're there pushing me, encouraging me, I'm going to do better than my standard mindset would, because we all leave something in the tank typically. We might be operating anywhere between 50 and 80% on a daily basis, and we might not even know it. But the moment you implement someone that's going to hold you accountable, now we're operating from 80 to 100 on a consistent basis. I want to get into the aspect of the importance of having a personal trainer, having someone there to hold you accountable.
100%. Just like as you mentioned, people often give a lot more when they see other people watching them, when they know other people watch them. And that's why it's also important to remember that improving your fitness is more than just about you. People often are willing to give a lot more effort when they realize it's more than just about them. Obviously, there's the example of somebody watching you, but probably more pertinent example is if you realize that you improving your fitness has a direct correlation to how fit your kids will be, how fit your spouse would be, how much longer you live, and how good their life would be. When you realize it's more than just about you, then that would make you second guess or second question before you eat the donut or skip that walk or workout that you told yourself you were going to do.
It's important, though, to look at the journey, because where we begin, it might be a place of hardship. It could be recovering from injuries. Maybe we want to build muscle to get some ladies. Maybe we want to, maybe we want to slim down to, be more appealing to the guys. I mean, depending on your situation, you're going to have different goals. And sometimes those goals come with stereotypes. For example, being big and buff like Arnold Schwarzenegger was when he's Mr. Olympia, right? That could be someone's goal. But then we can have a goal of wanting to be a soccer player, like that type of physique is very different than a bodybuilder. They're toned, they're athletic, they have high cardiovascular. But then when you look at the bodybuilders, they're just these huge, muscular guys. The stereotype is very different between the two, right? You have one that is going to be more slender, one is going to be more brawny. How does someone know which is for them?
Most people know what they want, right? Almost everyone I talk to, one of the first things they say, which is interesting, is I don't want to be a bodybuilder. I don't want to look like Arnold. That's what most people say. And it's a bit funny because Arnold didn't sneeze and all of a sudden became like that, right? He put incredible amount of effort and hours and steroids in the gym to get how he looks, right? So you're not going to look like that accidentally ever. That's not going to happen ever. It is interesting when people say that. But yes, also is important to tailor to people's goal, right? Because as you mentioned, if your goal is to be a competent soccer player, the training style is extremely different than if your goal is to be a bodybuilder. If your goal is to just flatten your stomach and have more energy, that's very different as if your goal is to perform as high as best as possible in terms of like bench press or running, right? Just like as you mentioned, people's goals dictate the training style and how they should eat. All of that is very different. That is a good point. I feel like a lot of people just say, hey, this soccer player is famous. I'm just going to do what he does. But you have different goals than him. Obviously, that's not going to yield the results you want.
Yeah. And then you also have to look at the work ethic, because you might like their physique, but then the moment you implement their training program, you're like, whoa, this is something that I don't want to commit to. So maybe you get the less version. Instead of a soccer player, maybe you are, I don't even know what's going to be less than a soccer player. Maybe like a high school track star or something. But basically, we're just looking at all the different things that a person can become. Because when it comes to mindset coaching, one of the things I ask people is like, what do you want? And to be honest, most people don't know what they want. When we look at fitness, we can say, well, what type of body do you want? They can look at people that they admire, but again, the the correlation to how much work they have to do to get it versus what they're putting in or how much effort they want to do, that's a different story. Understanding that there's going to be a level or amount of work that a person has to do in order to achieve that goal that they're maybe aspiring to have, is there a way to get them to commit to that instead of saying, well, that's too much work, let me try something less?
Yeah, 100%. And people need to realize that obviously hitting your goal would be difficult, but it's often a lot more difficult staying where you're at. You're dealing with regret and not having the energy to see your grandkids play soccer, for example, because you're bedstruck, because you haven't taken care of yourself. That's probably going to feel a lot worse than you going for a walk this evening. It's important to remember that if you don't sacrifice for your goals, then your goals become the sacrifice. And that's pretty difficult to live with.
And they have to sacrifice comfort because cake is very comfortable, ice cream is very comfortable, eating fast food is very comfortable, but maybe meal prepping, it could be a problem for some people because they say they don't have time. They might give themselves the idea of they don't have time to work out or be fit because as we began the conversation, we all have home gyms now since the pandemic, but yet most of that equipment that they have at their houses right now are just taking dust. And the gyms are at an all-time low because people are just accepting where they are. How can we ignite better health and fitness and nutrition into society instead of more so the individualistic thing? Because if we can fix society and give people the view of what they should be doing in a sense, more people will readily step toward better fitness.
Definitely agree with you on that. And that's just changing the education system in the school. However, at this current moment, I'm not nearly as influential enough to do that. But I do think if I can change one person's life, then he would have a huge impact on his family and everybody that interacts with him. When I help somebody lose, 70 pounds, everyone who he ever interacts with ever says, "Oh my God, how did you do that?" And I now believe it's possible for me. Because everyone sees online people lose weight. But if unless you know somebody personally who made that significant transformation, only then do you believe it's actually possible for you. I believe because it's you change society by changing the individual because that has ripple effect into everyone else. I think just keep doing what we're doing and try to change individuals' lives and realize that eventually that leads to a societal level. Obviously, if you're the government, be like, yeah, put more emphasis on that. But
Yeah. You move a mountain one stone or one pebble at a time. And in the same way, we are going to work on individuals one person at a time. It creates a ripple effect with their family, and then maybe the community. And from there, people can start to live a healthier and happier life. It's going to take a breaking point sometimes for people to realize that they have to make some changes, typically a trauma. A trauma is typically what gets people to take the quickest and the best action. You get a doctor's note. The doctor says, hey, you're a pre-diabetic. Uh-oh, I don't want to be that. So they'll go get a trainer. They'll do all these things, start eating healthier. They wait for the bad. And then once they wait for that moment, they're in a scurry and a rush to get there. But what I tell people is you don't have to be in a rush to wait for that moment. Why not just say, right now, I'm in a good place. I can do it. I know it might not be easy, but let me start to take the initiative. Let's start one day. And as you do, Daniel, you help people, just start simple, like at your home. and they can just do it, in their free time, maybe changing up some of their habits and their flows and their systems that they have created. So instead of sitting on the sofa, you maybe walk to the room where you have the equipment, do a couple of sets or something like that, set a timer on your phone, and then go to work. And then from there, you're going to start to feel better. Not only that you did it, but your body's going to be looking better. And it's only a matter of time before you look in the mirror and you're like, whoa, this is me. And then now you're going to be like almost hungry for more betterment in your life. And that is the aspect of training and fitness.
100%. And as you kept on mentioning, obviously it's not easy. However, it does get easier in a way because right now I used to be addicted to Coke and not as in drugs, as in like the soft drinks. That should probably clarify.
Yeah.
I remember made a rule that I can't drink Coca-Cola before 12, before noon, right? Before 12 p.m. Just because I don't know how that the thought process was. Maybe in the afternoon it's not as bad as if I drink it in the morning. Anyways, you should drink too much of it. And now I haven't drank it in like years. I don't remember the last time. And recent, like it's been probably like half a decade, maybe 6 years. And recently I was offered, so I'm like, yeah, let me take a sip. And like it did not even taste good. As you heard, like I used to eat nothing but McDonald's from 6 to 12. So that's I probably didn't eat that much. So probably like I probably ate once a day, 365 days. Like that's all I ate. Like I did not eat anything else, just McDonald's. And now I'm like, it doesn't even taste good. Like I'd rather make my own food or have like proper actual restaurant food. This tastes better. Real food tastes better than junk food once you get yourself to that healthy state.
Yeah, I can't even remember the last time I had McDonald's because my mom would get it for me when I was young also. But as I grew up, it just wasn't good for me, and I knew it wasn't good for me. So I just, cut it out like cold turkey. And I was like, you know what? I can be eating better. And that's when, started cooking better foods, better nutritions, better mindsets. I got rid of the soda too. For me, I like cream soda. I didn't like Coca-Cola or Pepsi or anything like that, but it was cream soda. But then I remember one day I drank like almost a liter of cream soda and I was still training and I went to go run a mile, which I was able to do. But that day after I drank the soda, I was only able to do barely a half a mile. And I was like, it's crazy how the foods we eat can affect our body so quickly. And I said, we have to had to make some adjustments. And when I did that, everything else started to fall into place. I got the body that I was looking for. And when you are in high school, having a nice body is a benefit to you, especially if you're a guy, get all the ladies. And it's a goal for many people to get this physique. But then it is a work ethic that you have to implement. And I find that if you have not started that work ethic early on in your life when you were younger, it's never too late. And the best way to do that is to find someone who's going to be there, who's going to be able to guide you, hold you accountable, to answer any of your questions, because that is what we need in our world today. Google is great and all, but we need an in-person or just a personal touch to our personal and professional development. So the work that you do, Daniel, is helping people get to better fitness, better mindsets, and helping them realize that they can start where they are. It could be a day at a time, a moment at a time. And from there, we can start to see more growth. So as we begin to wrap up, I would love to get some final words from you and for you to tell the audience where they can find you.
I would say the final statement is the best investment you can make is in yourself. Crypto, stocks, real estate could go down, could go up, but you will always be with you, and there's no better investment than investing in yourself. It will have a ripple effect, more just about your entire family, your business, everyone you interact with. And if you are interested in sustainably losing weight without going to the gym, then you can check me out on X or Twitter or YouTube or Instagram, Daniel Raz underscore fit, or my website, danielrazfit.com. You'll see a bunch of testimonials, people that started from the same shoes as you. And I'll be happy to talk with you to see if us working together makes sense.
Perfect. And I'll make it easy for one. All the links will be in the description box below. I encourage everyone to check Daniel out, follow him on his socials, and begin to have a conversation. because you're always going to find someone with a unique situation and a unique personality. And from there, you're going to find the best coach, the best fit for you. We all have that person out there that's going to change our life. And you always have to inquire on all of our wonderful coaches to see if that coach is the right fit for you. So I want to thank you so much, Daniel, for coming on, spending some time, and talking about your work.
Definitely. Thanks a lot.